Hey everyone, welcome back. This is your captain speaking from Tartarian Airlines. We got a long one today. I do appreciate it if you stick around. I will do my best to keep you entertained. And we are going to hit up 4 states and a bunch of star forts. So, this will be a good opportunity to get to know each other. And here I am kind of looking at our flight plan. We're going to start from our last position in the last video, the last star fort that we were at in Florida, in Pensacola. There were 2 there. And so now we're going to go, and I'm just kind of looking at, like I said, our flight plan. And I use the Microsoft Flight Simulator, but whenever I use the drone, there is no north, south, east, west. So I kind of go by landmarks, and then if I ever get too confused, I will look at either my iPad or my phone to kind of get a good bearing of my directions. So what I like to do is, of course, do the flight plan first and look at the terrain and find the spots. So behind the scenes, I am looking at a starfort map. There is a website called starforts.com that is very informational, although I have found some incorrect information, whether it is on their part, starforts.com, or if it's Wikipedia. But I do cross-verify all my locations because the website says one thing, Wikipedia says another, of course. And yeah, what I need to do is actually this whole area of swampland is just absolutely crazy and insane. So one day I'm going to do another separate video and we're just going to look at crazy stuff. No star forts, just crazy lines that just don't even need to be there. So let's begin. And like I said, we are coming from Florida, Pensacola. Right now we should be in Alabama. That's about it. So yeah, we'll get to know each other a little bit. Please let me know in the comments anything you want to say, any constructive criticism you have. Oh, also, I did check out some sites that were in the comments from the last video. In particular, there were these Diamante Islands that someone had asked me to go check out. Even though they're like, I mean, you could throw a rock from one island and hit the other, and there's like a 6-hour time zone difference. So I wonder what those islands look like on the Flat Earth map, or on my favorite Crater Earth map. And I mean, it's just crazy, those flight plans. I mean, like the flight plans for real planes is just like they don't make sense. But if you put it on the UN map, it makes perfect sense. So yeah, I watch or I read all the comments, and I like and heart every good comment. And now I'm starting to delete all the bad comments, which actually have been a lot fewer. I kind of had a feeling too. I mean, if I just open up and tell y'all that, hey, I make my own music. Like once I've been telling everybody that I make my own music, I've been getting a lot less negative feedback. And so yeah, I really want to get back into making some more tunes. I think I've made like 50 or something. So like I kind of make a video, and if there's a song that I've already made that doesn't really, I don't find a good match, then I'll just go ahead and make another one. what I try to do is, like, if this video is 45 minutes long, well, actually, a better example would be if a video is like 16 minutes and 24 seconds. What I try to do is I try to actually make the track last that long. Because I kind of don't like two or three different tunes. I like the same, feel and the same melodies kind of going throughout. So sometimes I'll sit there for 20 minutes on one whole song and just, hit the different loops and stuff like that. I have been an artist pretty much my entire life. Some would say I've had a phenomenal high school experience. I was the lead singer of the most popular heavy metal band in my town from the age of 16 to 20. And you can kind of see these weird ridges here. I do like to just go throughout the whole land. I like to show y'all how short the distance is really between these star forts. That way you can kind of see. I don't like jumping from one location to the next, and so this is actually I go all the way through from the last stop all the way. Well, I do skip Louisiana going into Texas just because it's a very long distance. I'm not going to bore you. That would be like an hour and a half long video. But I do like to, travel the distance, and that way we can see the land. And I have found some crazy things. I will show you. But for now, the first stop is Fort Morgan. And I think it's a cool one, if I'm not mistaken. I do these flyovers, and then I do my edits. Yeah, that's right. It was built. That was first. Of course, there's no, drawings and construction, but that's a mini star fort built in 1813. And we don't know what it's made out of or what it was made out of. It could be just wood. But that's one of the crazy things I found while doing this research is the dates of completion. And then it said that thing was built first. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. The weird thing is, all these star forts, they just kind of appear. Like, look at this one. This one has the actual terrain, like one's in Amsterdam or whatever. This one has a terrain built out, and then also the brick building itself. This is old school. I think these are older because there's no drawings of when they started. Like for me, when I do some artwork, I take progression photos, but not a single star fort I have ever seen, even on all the ones in Florida. They're already done. They're already made. There's not like a drawing of the land before. And now this star fort is just completely different than what it was originally, the Fort Bowler one. It looks nice. This is like one of those Amsterdam ones. So maybe like some of the Amsterdam people came over here and kind of showed us how to build star cities, basically. They built star cities. This is just a star fort. But then if you look at this one, the second stop, it's like they terraformed the edge of the pier too. Like this used to be where the boats docked back in the day. And this is a weird star fort. I don't know if there was one like this in Florida or not. Some of the star forts, they don't really look like stars. But they do have you see the tips there are kind of like pointy, like a star fort. So I guess that's why they're considered a star fort. But as you'll see later on, it's not just star forts. There's other forts that have like points that I found. So yeah, whenever I think they just classify, I don't know what classifies them as star fort. But even this website that I believe the person who made the website that I got all these maps from, or these locations for star forts, I think he actually went out and visited every single American star fort. Maybe had a drone or something. I mean, it seems like they're his photos. Because if you look on Google, star fort in America, or any star fort, pick any star fort, and you look through Google Images, you're going to find one of his images from starforts.com. And here, I think this is cool. Wouldn't this be cool to live right here? I mean, totally secluded. I'd like to have the one at the end, like that one. But to be honest, I want to be out there, like even further. I don't want to have any neighbors around. Look at that. Imagine at night how awesome it would be. And also, how weird is that that's completely straight? I just noticed that right now. Like, are these artificial? Imagine if this. Imagine. So, like I said in the other one, with the first Starfort video I made, of that massive, the biggest Starfort in the world. I mean, imagine what this whole area looked like. What, like maybe 3, 4, 500 years ago? I mean, we don't even know. But like, what could have all this been? Because that was a whole straight section there. Now, is it a mistake from Google Earth, the satellites that Microsoft used to make this game? It could be. But they get so much accurately, or they get so much correct that, I mean, oh, and then also, I don't think I'd do that in this one, but I will in another, where I kind of just show you what I see on Google Earth, not the satellite view, but the topography view, and everything matches up. I mean, so yeah, I think this game, Microsoft Flight Simulator, they definitely use the same satellites as Google Maps, because, I mean, that's how I'm able to find my way, is by following these chains of islands to my next location. And then also, like, terrain, the different kinds of terrain on the land. If I see a hook, or like I don't know, like, I guess let's just use that as an example. If I see a hook in the island, and I know that if I keep going south, and then I see a line, then I go to the right. That's pretty much how I find some of these forts. Is I match up Google Earth and Google Maps with Microsoft Flight Sim, and so, yep. They do get a lot of things accurate, but are they accurately lying to us? You know what I mean? I mean, because it's like we corroborate, right? I think I'll put a link for one of my Facebook groups, Tartarian Airlines. That way y'all can easily find it. But a lot of my viewers come from that group. And just recently I posted something about giants, about how, I mean, honestly, it pisses me off that people post all these photos of giants to persuade others that giants did exist. Well, you don't need to put fake photos up to prove giants existed. There's plenty of text. There's plenty of drawings and depictions of people with, like, their face on their chests. You know, there's plenty of depictions with like dog people. Like, I mean, you don't have to use photoshopped images to prove a giant existed. I mean, there's plenty of video evidence since videos were the beginning. I mean, there's plenty of video evidence to prove that giants existed. You don't need to use Photoshop to basically lie and, you know, force us to believe that there were giants. I mean, so yeah, I think y'all should join my Facebook group. And it's also an easier way to, wouldn't say easier, but it's another way to kind of communicate with me and share your ideas. Because honestly, I don't really put forth any speculation as to what we are seeing. Now, maybe I did with the Vatican one, where I said that's where they put all the little kiddos in a train and they go under the ground and do their sacrifices. Yeah, I'm giving you my opinion on that. That's what I believe. If you look at the red shoes, and actually, honestly, if you just, anything I say, if you have a question, I mean, just look it up. I got it from somewhere. I'm not here to lie to y'all to say, oh my God, starforts were, you know, intergalactic beacons for aliens. I mean, I'm not here to say that. I am here as your captain to take you to all these different sites and locations and just show you where they are, what they look like, when they were built. And, what's really weird is that these forts were built out in the middle of the ocean. Like almost all the forts I've showed you, like, okay, at least half of the forts I showed you have been out on an island, right? Like, look at this. This is just out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't know. Maybe what I should do is look at the coordinates and see if, something else lines up to it or something. But I'm no expert. I'm not trying to become an expert in star forts or why star forts ever existed. We're never really going to know the truth. Hopefully, when we leave this earth, all the truth gets shown to us. I mean, I would love to just, oh, okay, we're getting to know each other. I have had an out of body experience. I'll tell you about that here in a little bit. But look at this one. This one is really cool looking. This is like, I don't know how many more are out there like this. They call this one uh, the emoji starfort, because if you look at it from above, it like has a smiley face and two eyes. But this one's just really weird. Like, would you consider this a star fort that doesn't look like a star, but yet it's on starforts.com? So I think after I conclude everything from that website and I visit all of them, now I'm going to go back and just look at all the forts and see when all of them were made, see what they look like, and see if there's any more similarities to like this round one, because this round one is really weird. We were on like Ship Island, I think that's what it's called, or something like that. That island right there, I think that's called like Cat Island for some reason. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, I did have a really awesome high school experience. I would say I started off as a nerd, but I think I have always been a nerd. I mean, I had the glasses, the thick Coke bottle glasses. They were plastic, and my aunt adopted me because I had issues with my stepdad. Fucking piece of shit. Sorry for my language, but so I moved out of that bad environment, and my aunt adopted me, and that's when I moved to Garland, but it's a suburb of Dallas. And I grew up there, and actually, they say King of the Hill, Arlen, Texas, is actually Garland, Texas. And man, like, I think it really was named after that town that I lived in growing up. Arlen, Texas is the town in King of the Hill, and I grew up in Garland, Texas, and I think I was in the biggest high school there. Freshman year, oh yeah, because I had moved last year of middle school, and so I pretty much started fresh. I think I just had like a handful of friends that I conversed with from middle school. Maybe I did do my whole last year at middle school there, because I was in football. I did carry over some friends into high school. So freshman year, I was pretty dorky. I had the tape, between the middle of my glasses. Total nerd. Perfect attendance. I was, decent in art. I wasn't really the best drawer, but I did have an eye for perspective and, shading. I drew, vehicles and like sports cars, and I used to make the models, the plastic models and model cars, stuff like that. And then sophomore year, uh, I just got into heavy metal. I got into a heavy metal band. Uh, there was one of my friends from middle school that he was a drummer and he was all gothed out. He was, I mean, but look at these lines right there. That looks pretty cool. Uh, you know, Definitely human made. Wonder for how long. But yeah, this goth skinny kid with long black hair, listen to Typo Negative, all black all the time. He only had black clothes, and he was a drummer. And he was like, "Hey, man, I think we were just talking." He goes, "Yeah, I'm in a band, and we're looking for a singer." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I used to be in choir. I can give it a shot." I never actually sang a tune. It was all screamo, like raw, just all screaming raw, and they loved it, and everybody loved it because it was just pure energy. So I kind of broke out of my shell at 16, being a lead singer of a heavy metal band. And 2 weeks after practicing, we had our first concert, and it was like nothing they had ever heard, other than the radio. Uh, instant, instant freaking, I wouldn't say success, because success to me is paying your bills with whatever craft you're using. But everyone loved it, and I had an awesome 4 years of being a heavy metal singer and doing concerts, getting paid, a few $100 per show. But back in 1996 and 1998, I mean, that was freaking amazing. So I've always done something artistic, and I've always had a knack for music. Me and the guitarist would stay up, write music the entire time. The drummer would always say, the guy who got me in said, "Hey, don't wake me up until the sun rises, okay? Don't you dare wake me up until the sun rises." So me and the guitarist were just writing music and just couldn't wait for the sun to rise so that we could wake up the drummer. But I think this starfort is probably one of my favorite types of starforts. I just love that triangle look, you know, very unique. Uh, and we're going to find out if there's any more like this throughout America, throughout the United States of Tartaria. But yeah, I just love the way it looks. And of course, surrounded by water. So whatever the purpose was, like, I mean, to me, why would you have okay, well, I don't know, maybe it makes sense to have water around the fort, because then you can only go through one area, right? That's what they've been telling us in the books, is like castles, all the castles, which now we know castles were not meant for humans because there were no toilets in there. Or maybe some of you tuning in have not heard about that, but castles were not meant for humans. First of all, the doors are just too massive. Uh, and then the fact that there was no toilets and no heaters, but yet the the people out tending the land and stuff, all of their huts, all of their all of the things that they built for themselves to live in, they were all built with heaters or some sort of chimney or something to keep warm, and they were made with bathrooms in them. But yet castles, for some reason, didn't have amenities for the rich people who lived in the castle, which I think is odd. So I wonder what the water was there for, right? Like, like that Parliament building in England. I mean, that just looks like a huge power station. So, maybe all these little tiny star forts, like this is a star fort, but it's been completely overgrown. Uh, you'll see here in a second. It's just, I mean, completely camouflaged. They maybe were hiding it because it looked so similar to the other one. I didn't catch when this one was made. I'm sure I put the text up there. I was too busy yapping. But yeah, you can see that's just been abandoned forever, and like they just let everything overgrow on it. Uh, almost like they just let it deteriorate. I mean, I hear America has one of the most abandoned buildings in the world. It's like we build these things and then we just let them dilapidate. So I don't know. I mean, I like I like to think that we built mostly everything, somehow, some way. I do know that those World Fairs in Chicago, which I still have that video that I need to complete. There's just so many damn pictures and stuff I got to do to it that, to me, I find these star forts a little bit easier to navigate, a little bit more cut and dry. I don't have to do as much research and gather as many photos. So I'm kind of pumping out these star fort ones. I think they're cool, but yeah, like I said, there's just kind of a little less time consuming. Uh, the next Starfort video will actually be West Coast, and there's only going to be 3, so that'll be an easy video for me. And they look cool too. I can't believe that the whole west side, has only 3 confirmed Starforts. So that's why I want to do more research on what other forts were there. Because I mean, we already found that one that was built on top of another that was even older from 1813, and it looked, like a little tiny mini star fort. So I think they let some things just dilapidate, and of course this is way out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, probably 100 people a year, even maybe less, come see these things. So I really don't think they care about all these star forts way out here. I think you'll see, I think the last one, the one in Texas, is just completely demolished. It's not even there, you know. You can't even see the outline. Like, I mean, Texas, they just completely demolished their star fort. So I really wonder how many forts were there before. Um, like I said, I'm gonna burn through all the star forts on the website, starforts.com. Uh, but even they missed some forts that are kind of starry. I mean, the first one that we saw that was, built on top of another, that one wasn't inside starforts.com. So if anybody ever wonders, like, why I criticize, it's not even criticism. It's just, a little bit of research. And I don't know, maybe the person who did starforts.com, maybe they just didn't want to include, or, I mean, like, how could they not have realized or found that fort before? You know what I mean? Like, I found it. I just do this for fun. I found a fort that wasn't, I found a star fort that wasn't on starforts.com. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, look at this line right here. That's just all in water. See what I mean? Like, I want to make a whole video of all this stuff. I mean, just this whole area was a freaking city. But I mean, going back to like seriously, man, do your job. Like, your starforts.com, and you didn't even mention that there was another star fort that was underneath the one that you featured. So, no, I'm not really criticizing. I'm just saying that it's really important to do your own research and to not just believe whatever is on a website. I don't even want you to believe me. But what does make me believable is the fact that I show you what's there before, or what was, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to hide or point in any direction, or like, sway any kind of thought in your head. Like, I'm just showing you the land and I'm showing you what was there before as much as I can. So, like, I get a lot of flack because I criticize the great John Levi. And no, I did not hear about the mud flood from John Levi, okay? I've already mentioned where I heard the mud flood from. And even that video, like, that video is really good because he didn't even say like, "Oh, this is what I believe." He's like, "Well, I mean, what if you think this was like that? Or what about that?" And he even said, look for yourself because I'm just going over this a little bit. So, I mean, I'm probably just like you where I hear something really interesting and I just go all in and I just start researching. Like for me, I'm a big debunker. I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything, literally, until I do my own freaking research. And so I've gotten criticized because I say things like, even John Levi is incorrect on some things. And then people are like, why do you say that about him? And I tell them, well, I'm in the business of debunking everything I hear. I mean, I wouldn't say business, I'm not making any money off of this. But that's what I do. I hear something on the news, I don't believe it. I look it up for myself, and I'm like, they were wrong. Or, how about that? That's true. You know what I mean? Like Texas building their own border wall. I'm like, well, they show me images. I'm like, well, how hard is that? That is great. But once you get into this whole mud flood stuff, and the person making this type of video, these videos, or mud flood videos, they don't know any more than what you know. I mean, like John Levi, does he have his own thoughts? I don't know. I think he does have his own thoughts, but I think he gets his ideas from other YouTubers. And he even says it too. He was like, oh, look at this. I just found this YouTube channel, and they say this, and they say this, and then they say this. It's like, dude, I mean, come up with your own thought, come up with your own theory, or just don't, whatever. So, me, I mean, I have found inconsistency. And then also another thing, like I did a wrong building once. I showcased, look at that weird line. I showcased a particular building, and I was like, look, they have two different kinds of buildings. So was this there before? Then they tore it down, then they built it up again? No, ended up being a whole nother building. So my very next video, I corrected myself and I did another video on the actual building that I was, misinterpreting. So, to me, I mean, I left comments, and that's where I found out. That's where I found out that I was wrong, was in my comments. Like someone said, "Hey, I'm from New York, and this is incorrect." And so what did I do? The very next day, I corrected myself, and I have not made that mistake again. Going back into the video, this is another one that I found, and it's pretty starry. Like, it's not exact, but what other star forts have we seen today that weren't exactly a star, that were classified as star fort? And it's just completely gone. It does have a starry tip right there, and, it almost looks like a smaller version of that huge star fort I found in Louisiana. But it's there. This is an actual fort. To me, I think it's kind of a star fort. Fort St. Philip. And this was just an honest find. I mean, I was looking through old photos. I think another photo is coming up later. For the actual, I was looking at old, like, this is what I try to find. I was looking up this one, number 7. And I like to find as old a picture as possible. And there's a reason why. Um, because you see things that are just gone now. If you try to find the oldest photo, like a construction photo, look at that to the top left. I saw that when I found this photo. And I was like, what? I didn't even see that when I was flying over. So then I checked my footage, and sure enough, it was right there. So this is what I mean, like this wasn't even late. That Fort St. Philip, the first one, which by the way, this one looks amazing. This is probably like one of the best ones that I come across. Um, but sure enough, it wasn't even featured inside the Star Fort. So we found two Star Forts that weren't inside the official Star Forts of America website. You know what I mean? So this is why you have to question everything. Like, yes, you can get your information primarily from one source, but you also need to verify that information. And you only do that by getting as many sources as possible. You find as many old photos as possible, because someone's going to make a mistake somewhere. Like, Google's going to let something slip. And, I just think it's interesting that there was another fort there right before it, right across the whatever waterway. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's why I actually just unsubscribed to John Levi. I just said, you know what, forget it. Because, I mean, all the information that he says, I can just get somewhere else. You know what I mean? And they're not going to push some narrative on me. Um, I'm not even going to speculate about John Levi and his personality or what his beliefs are. All I know is I don't really gain anything from watching his videos. Um, I actually put a comment, and I said, "Hey man, um, you know, we have more photos of the Singer building. Like, there's actual construction photos of the Singer building being constructed. Now, the original Singer building had a really elaborate, smaller, like 10 or 15-story building, maybe 10-story building. I think maybe even five. I think it was just a 5-story building at first. And then they added this tower to it. And you can literally visually see the addition being constructed onto the older Singer building. Now, there are no photos of the original building, so to me, the original building is questionable. But he included the Singer Tower in his evidence that the Tartarians basically built that building. And it's like, dude, I sent the comment, and I said, hey man, there's photos of construction for the Singer building. I think we made that. I mean, and he doesn't reply back. Like, I don't even know who he replies back to. But it's almost like he just makes a video. He gets his 75,000 views, 100,000 views, or whatever, and he's just cool. Which, by the way, I mean, I tried to get the Clinton Hitman channel monetized, but they wouldn't. So I made this Tartarian Airlines one, and I did some research, and for every 1,000 views, you get about $1. And it also depends on the advertising. Like, so, if like Tide, like a really big name brand, uh, allows, you know, keywords, and it's acceptable for Tide to do advertising, then yeah, you're gonna get some good money. Maybe it's still like $1.20. But if it's like somebody lower, which look at this interesting island right there. Looks artificial. But if it's a conspiracy channel like mine, this Tartarian stuff, I might not get a big advertising, I might not get a big company advertising on my site. So I might get 75 cents or 50 cents for every 1,000 views. I mean, I'm not doing this for money, but I think others are. And when I leave a comment on someone's page about incorrect information and they don't reply back, to me, I think that they're just pumping out shit just to get views and just to make, I guess he'd get $75 per video, probably $100 per video, and he just moves on. So he'll get that several thousand views in a day. He doesn't care. I mean, any YouTuber that doesn't reply back to their fans or to their people, they don't care about you. I mean, they're just putting content out. So like, look at this. Like, not only is the land terraformed, but then like this fort is just completely, I wouldn't say completely demolished, but you'll see in some other photos here coming up. I mean, there are just no photos of construction. I found, I mean, some of those star forts I found did have the old construction, floor, the plans or whatever. But this one is like, and it's in the ocean too, kind of. I mean, how many of these that have we seen so far that are just out in the middle of an island that are just pretty far away from the land? I just think it's very interesting how such a long time ago look at this, like somebody cut those out. Like such a long time ago, there was all this effort made into these brick forts. I mean, the early 1800s, they were using red brick and shipping them out here. That, to me, that doesn't add up. I'm just gonna let you know, that this doesn't add up. We're not being told what these are for. Whenever America got conquered by, the Europeans or the Spanish or whatever, I mean, they just put cannons in there and just say, hey, I think we're just going to use this. Like, that's what I think. I mean, I'll tell you my opinion on that. I think that, these were found. But, here we go to Texas. You see, I mean, it's just too much of a long distance for me to go over that. I don't want to bore y'all too much. I know I'm not really talking too much about the star forts, but hey, I'm also not trying to fill your ears with nonsense about what I think. I mean, you guys already have made up your mind probably about what star forts are. Me, I'm just showing you the location, and this one's been completely demolished. Like, it's supposed to be kind of on the left, I think, where the little roundabout is at, whatever. But now it's just turned into a park. They just tore it down. And we'll never see what it really was. So speculations run wild. But once again, it's right next to some water. There was probably more water around here earlier. But, yeah. Anyways, here is, there's a spot. There's where it's supposed to be. And this is apparently the layout of what it was. Yeah, we're just making shit up now. Soldiers' quarters. We're just making stuff up now. But hey, it is what it is. I'm just showing you the land. I'm showing you where they were. This was the Gulf Coast Star Forts. West Coast Star Forts will be next. And then I don't know how I'm going to break up the other ones, because there's like a ton. There's a ton on the East Coast, so I might do every, few states or something, depending on how many forts I find. I might go state by state, something like that. But I do appreciate your time, and help me out with those watch hours. I'm trying to get up to 4,000 on this channel. Things are doing pretty good so far, and I'm glad you stopped by. And, on the next travel, we'll share some more stories and background. But, until then, I do appreciate your time. That was the Gulf Coast Star Forts. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.